Weather and climate on Earth have always been dynamic. As societies change, extreme weather can be the cause of grave damage and losses. Disasters manifest from extreme weather and community preparedness for this weather.
You have the natural events, the natural hazards and events, and then you have the people.
Events reoccur, and people know this, so action can be taken to reduce the losses of disasters. This is disaster risk reduction, or DRR.
To me, DRR is anything and everything you can do to reduce impact of natural hazards. It can be as simple as doing drills, for example, either for children or for the entire community, or as complicated as establishing an early warning system for floods, tsunamis, cyclones.
Governments, NGOs, scientists, community leaders, and first responders are developing measures to reduce people's vulnerability to the next big event.
Because lessons learned is always about what went right and what went wrong and why and what can we do better.
Lessons are being identified and action taken. The stakeholders in DRR are developing resources that they think will best serve those in need during disasters. Some measures are effective. However, there are many instances when disasters repeat.
Lessons from disasters, droughts, floods, famines, they seem to recur. The events recur, but the lessons recur. So it raises the question, are we learning from past disasters on how to prepare for future ones?
There's an apparent breakdown in the DRR system. In the meantime, citizens, communities, and industry are impacted by ill-conceived or implemented programs. What is missing? Perhaps perspective is not found with the stakeholders as much as deeper under the clouds. We examine whether we can redefine the roles of victims, survivors of disasters, or disaster-affected people live and work at ground zero, responding, improvising to events as they unfold and as they prepare for future foreseeable events. Can disaster-affected people serve as critical informants on where DRR is not meeting community needs? Testing this hypothesis means that we start looking at communities under threat from specific natural hazards. Our first stop takes us to northeastern Vietnam, where typhoons and flooding ravaged the region in 2016. Vietnamese citizens emerged to comment on the DRR infrastructure and their needs in the face of destructive events.
My island has trouble with storms and typhoons. From what I've seen, weather on this island is changing a lot. Storms that normally happen in July or August are happening earlier.
In
the past, we had 4 distinct seasons, but now the boundary between them is not clear. This situation is really important to me because it affects my livelihood. Knowing the weather patterns lets me know when I will be guiding tourists or when I will stay at home.
Citizens are invested in understanding storms in the region. Family life and consistent work are not an option. They are a need.
Making fish sauce is the traditional job of my family that has been passed down through generations. On a good year, we can sell about 40 to 50 tons of fish sauce. In bad years, when we cannot get enough fish because of trouble with the weather, we can only sell 10 to 12 tons.
I listen to the radio every day to learn about the weather. I trust the forecasts, but the information is very general. They tell me it will be windy one day or rainy another, but they don't tell me when and where. A lot of times I have to turn to my senses and experience to make decisions.
It is not only having resources and information, but the combination of which ones and how to leverage them is a personal recipe that leads to individual accomplishment.
If I had 3 wishes, I would want better information about water quality, the price of fish, and the weather. The success of our family and business depends upon what I know and how I can use this information.
Before me, farmers used to destroy the mangroves to make more room for aquaculture. When storms would hit the area, the walls would break and we would lose our shrimp and crab. I've been planting and regrowing mangroves more and more every year. When storms hit, the roots hold my lands together. I share this idea with other farmers in the area, and they are following my lead.
It is an unspoken word that survival happens. Improvisation, innovation, and resilience are mindsets that come with success.
It is important that all of us have mottos. We all must be true to ourselves, being good and kind people before we step out the door. We also have to be fighters and find our own survival strategy. If natural disasters are our enemy, we have to know and understand disasters.
The lives and businesses of disaster-affected people are on the front line of menacing hazards, and thus provide useful commentary on DRR measures. For the citizens who rise to these threats, they demonstrate persistence. Perhaps the greatest asset that disaster-affected people could provide to the DRR equation is to teach by example. Solutions are not a want, but a need. Solutions take improvisation, compromise, and teamwork. Under the clouds, those who rise to weather extremes activate all resources for healthier and happier lives, a shared goal with disaster risk reduction.